You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and please follow and subscribe on whatever platform you are listening to us on. All right, so Mark Levin, who, very, very brilliant conservative legal mind and is considered one of the top leading conservative experts on the Constitution, on his Fox show last night, he said, in many ways, we live in a post-constitutional America, and that the January 6th Kangaroo Committee is a major participant in the decline. And he gives a bit of an explanation, which I'm going to read through in a moment. And, here's the thing, okay? We had 8 years of Obama. Then we've had, so far, 4 years of Trump, right, with President Trump's first term. Yeah. Now we've got 4 years of Biden, and then Trump's back. The people that are working for Biden, well, I should say maybe the people Biden's working for, because he's not really, doing much. These people are running things, not him, but you know what I mean. The staff at the Biden White House are made up largely of people that worked for Obama's White House. So this is like Obama's third term, okay? And if you all remember, when Obama was running in 2008, all these truths about Obama came out that no one reported on because Democrats get a free pass. And since he was the first minority to be nominated for a major party, any criticism of him means that you're a racist and all these stupid, right. You're not allowed to criticize him. But Obama talked a lot when he was a state senator that the Constitution was out of date. He said that the Constitution, and this is a general thought among liberals, and certainly the people that are running the Biden White House, say that the Constitution was written by white slave owners for the purpose of maintaining white supremacy, right? You even hear that still from people today.
I totally disagree with that.
I do too, but that's what Obama said. And Obama then said, the Constitution is filled with negative liberties. He said this in an interview on NPR when he was a state senator. He said, the Constitution tells you what the government can't do to you, right? Like can't limit your speech, etc. But it doesn't tell you what the government should do for you. So we have, so you've got those Obama people like Jen Psaki and others, and now they're in the Biden regime, except they're higher up now. They don't believe that the Constitution is relevant today, and they believe that the Constitution is out of date. What Obama said, it was written by white slave owners for the maintaining of white power, and that the Constitution of the United States is not a document that should, not only is it not a document to be respected, it's not relevant in today's society. That's why liberals have told us something that's not true our entire lives. And when I tell you this, a lot of you probably haven't thought about this. I know a lot of you have, but a lot of you probably haven't. You probably heard that the Constitution is a living, breathing document. That is not true. It is written not quite in stone, but pretty close to stone. And the reason liberals teach that nonsense, they tell that's only part of it. The Constitution is a growing, living document that grows and changes with the times. That's the rest of that sentence. None of that is true. And it's been their way to say that the Constitution is irrelevant. And then Mark Levin, he was talking about the January 6th Kangaroo Committee here. He said this, in many ways, we live in a post-constitutional America. This is Mark Levin last night. We live in a post-constitutional America, and those who are waving around the Constitution today on the January 6th committee had been major participants in its demise. Let's say you go to a court of law. There's no judge. There's no jury. You don't have a lawyer. You can't call witnesses. You can't provide evidence. You can't even be heard. You just have to watch and watch. Let's say the jury is chosen by Nancy Pelosi, but don't worry, it's a bipartisan jury. We have seen Democrats and 2 Republicans, and there is the media in the back taking pictures, rolling the cameras, taking notes as scribes for the prosecution being the jury. and it goes on. So that's what's going on here with this January 6th committee. It is being presented as a court of law, and it's all one-sided, and no one is questioning it.
Well, nobody is questioning it, but nobody's watching it either. And like everything the Democrats try to do, this is going to fall flat. Nothing's going to happen with this. And not because Trump is corrupt and because he has the swamp on his side. No, because there's nothing there. You know, when people in D.C. like Hillary and Biden and these people get away with stuff, they don't get away with it because they're innocent. They get away with it because they have friends in high places and they're part of the swamp and they protect their own. But when Trump gets away with something, he's not getting away with anything because he never did anything wrong, because they're all against him up there in Washington. He might have 10% of the people on his side. The rest of them want him just to go away forever. So the fact that nothing is sticking when he has 90% of DC trying to get him, and the fact that nothing is sticking and nothing is working tells you a lot. Tells you that, I mean, he doesn't have friends in high places protecting him. He's got nobody protecting him up there. But they still don't have anything on the guy because there's nothing there. It's all hyperbole. It's all yellow journalism, kangaroo court, blown out of proportion. It's Russia, Russia, Russia all over again. It started the minute he announced he was running for president. They haven't left him alone. They never will leave him alone. I think he's accepted that this is just his life now. But he obviously doesn't mind, because if he really minded, he would just go away and retire and live a nice, quiet life. And he's not going to do that, thank goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, you look at what's going on here, okay? You have, on top of this, what Mark Levin isn't talking about there, or maybe he got into it later on the show and it's not mentioned in this story. We have all these January 6th prisoners. Many of them have been held for over a year without due process, without confidential consultations with attorneys, without bail, without speedy trials, on top of what's going on in this committee. Over the weekend, Stephen Colbert's crew illegally trespassed on the Capitol.
I don't know what they were thinking. I mean,
they are arrogant.
Stupid.
Arrogance.
It's arrogant.
Stupid arrogance.
Let me tell you, one of two things should happen. They should all go to jail for the same thing, because they did the same thing as the people on January 6th did, walking through the Capitol without permission.
Well, and not only that, the Stephen Colbert team, they were at the Capitol. They didn't have. They were let in by that creep, Adam Schiff.
Yeah.
The Capitol Police were called by members of Congress.
Yep.
They were removed, and by Capitol Police, they came back, and Colbert's people were searching for Lauren Boebert. So they're searching for a female.
How are they any different than the January 6ers then?
And
no difference.
And they were banging on Jim Jordan's door.
There you go.
Kevin McCarthy's door. And not only this, they came back twice. They got deeper in. They were in the office building that's next door to the famous Capitol building where all the congressmen's offices are. So they were deep in a more secure area, where on January 6th, the Capitol breachers were nowhere near there, and that's where a lot of the members of Congress like AOC were hunkered down.
And what it shows you is that the people in January 6th were not insurrectionists, just like these people are not insurrectionists. These were people that were just trespassing and obviously doing, intimidation or trying to scare or whatever they were trying to do, is not an insurrection. It's wrong, it's misguided, it's illegal, and I think it should be punished when you do things like that. I'm not saying people in January 6th shouldn't have been arrested for trespassing. They were trespassing, and that should have happened. But to label them insurrectionists, just like these guys should be arrested for trespassing, but to label them insurrectionists is ridiculous. They're no more insurrectionists than these guys that were there last week uninvited. Same thing. They did the same thing. They walked through the Capitol banging on doors without permission. Same exact thing. So are these guys going to get charged with insurrection?
And then
no. So the January 6ers should not be charged or labeled that either.
Yeah, and also you've got this pro-abortionist organizations that have committed they've attacked 19 pro-life pregnancy centers, some of them with Molotov cocktails.
Exactly.
They're still protesting illegally in front of conservative Supreme Court justices' homes, even after the foiled assassination attempt on Justice Kavanaugh and his family. There's no justice there. There's also no media outrage. And on top of that, even after the Kavanaugh incident, a couple dozen Democrats in the House voted against giving them security protections. So, what you see going on here, I don't agree with Mark Levin. This is not a post-constitutional America. We have radicals running the system right now who may not recognize the Constitution, but there are grown-ups around. I give you an example that shows there's grown-ups around.
Let me ask you real quick.
Let's finish this. This thing with Leah Thomas, getting banned for life from ladies swimming. And it's not just Leah Thomas, it's other transgenders. That shows you that there are grown-ups out there who are taking charge from these spoiled, rebellious, childlike minded people that are running the government now.
Well, and I wonder if Leah Thomas is going to go back to being a guy.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that he might get his hair cut and it no longer serves his purpose. So I think that's going to happen with that.
Yeah, well, so we're not in a post-constitutional America. I'm going to disagree with Mark Levin on that because it's still there. It's still relevant.
It is.
And, it's going to be a two-step thing. Republicans are going to take over Congress in November. We'll have some rule of law back. And there will be a real January 6th hearing, perhaps, getting to the bottom of what really happened on that day. And then also Trump in 2024. And believe me,
well, if Trump gets in the White House again, a lot of truths are going to come out.
Yeah, he'll probably
that's what they're afraid of.
He'll start declassifying all these things.
Oh yeah.
So it's not a post-constitutional America. I know it doesn't seem, and I'll tell you, it's so strange because growing up, we didn't live in the '60s. The '60s were before we were born, but you see these things on the '60s, and it always seemed like such an exciting time with all these things going on. And boy, were we wrong about that. That was not an exciting time. And there were a lot of terrible times. But if you go back into the 60s and look at all the terrible, crazy things that happened, it was all done by Democrats, including the war in Vietnam was a Democrat war. All these things that went on around the country, these terrible things, all done by Democrats. Democrats are always out of control, always have been radical. And the Democrat insurrection of the Civil War, I talk about this a lot, that was the real insurrection. The Democrat insurrection, we call it the American Civil War, but that was the Democrat insurrection. And the Democrat insurrection really has never ended. It's an ongoing conflict that they just won't let go.
No, I mean, it attracts a certain personality type.
Democrats, the Democrat
Party. It attracts people that
terrible people
are agitators, never happy, always want to aggravate the situation, and then they get their way, and then they move on to the next thing. They want more. Yeah. They're never happy. They can't just let things be and just enjoy life because they're not happy people.
That's correct.
I think deep down.
Now,
not religious people.
Now, this war in Ukraine, I mean, it's so serious that Ben Stiller was hanging around Kiev over the weekend. You see this? I mean, just walking around like, Boris was back over the weekend, just hanging out like nothing going on. And now things are starting to happen, okay, that are showing what's really going on here. A U.S. company, I'm sure a donor to the uniparty political establishment in Washington, a U.S. company is helping Ukraine build a missile defense system, its own version of Israel's Iron Dome, to prevent Russian rockets from striking in Ukraine.
According to government contract.
Yeah, according to Israeli officials, the Iron Dome, which detects and destroys incoming missiles, has over a 90% success rate. Ukraine's defense system intercepts just about 20% of Russia's missiles and rockets. Ukraine's technology is old and slow, says the CEO of Just Answer. If we could close down the skies over Ukraine, Ukrainians will have a much better chance of winning, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so now we have a U.S. company. I promise you they're a big donor to the Democrats and the Republican establishment. Now they've got this military contract with Ukraine that is an open-ended amount that the United States is paying for. Ukraine is not paying for their Iron Dome. We'll be paying for that. So here you have Biden and Pelosi and these Republican establishment people paying back the donors with unlimited military spending. This
This has happened before. This is part of our history in this country. The Iraq War, the Vietnam War. These wars are started Democrats need an excuse to do these things. They can't come out and tell you they're doing corrupt deals.
Yeah.
That's why they declare a war on climate change, because they do money laundering. They have to tell you what it's all about. They can't tell you what really is going on. They have to give you a reason. Same thing with Ukraine, Vietnam, and the Iraq War. These are all money laundering schemes, I think, ways for people to get rich.
Yeah.
But they can't just take the money. They have to have the money to put somewhere, and they make deals with people.
This Ukrainian missile defense,
it's a money grab.
This Ukrainian missile defense shield, I haven't, in the stories I read on it, they haven't estimated the cost, but Ukraine's a big country. It's got to cover the whole country.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
I promise you, they're not using the $81 billion plus we've already given them. This will be more spending.
Incredible.
Give me a break. And
they have the nerve to tell you they're blaming the war on all the inflation. Yeah, because they're giving all our money away. Well, they're spending like crazy.
Inflation is based on several factors cause inflation, but one of the things that causes inflation is the devaluation of the currency by the money supply being increased. So because they're spending so much money, even though it's mostly digital, they just add zeros on a computer screen, there's too much money in the money supply. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it has to do with this huge spending in Ukraine. So it's reckless. So the more money they spend, the more money there is in the money supply, the less valuable the dollar is.
Right. That's true.
And this thing here with this missile defense shield, over the weekend on Fox, they were talking about Putin was threatening nuclear capabilities, and they even mentioned like Miami. Let me tell you a couple things about this. I don't think Russia's nuclear weapons work.
You think it's like another North Korea?
I don't think they work. Look at how pathetic their army is. Their regular army, which is regular equipment, is ragtag.
Yeah.
Their missiles.
It's always been that way.
Yeah,
though.
Their missiles probably don't work any better than that. But if they start floating this idea of a threat, then we have to do more buildup in Poland and all the other countries that are in that region in Eastern Europe than we already have. And of course, we have defenses over there with NATO, but they need to be updated at our expense, of course.
It's an endless.
It's a big scam going on here. Big scam.
Yeah, it's a big scam.
Well, I told you guys.
People are getting very. This is why Democrats. I realized it. Why they went global with the Clintons, and really it started with George Bush. And maybe even Nixon, but I don't know. But George Bush, in this book, talks about this book, Red Handed, talks about how George Bush the first really started all this working with China and in this corruption. These politicians realized they were making a lot of money in this country with corruption, but they realized if they could go global, they could make a hell of a lot more money because instead of getting paid by unions, they could get paid by world leaders. And there's a hell of a lot more money to be made when you're on a global scale and you're making corrupt deals on a global scale as opposed to a regional or national scale.
Yeah.
And they realize that there's these coffers in the world, and America is, if they sell out the country, they can make millions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
But they have to have a reason and a way to shift the money and give the public a reason why they're doing it.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely correct. And
that's what global warming is a big part of that.
And when this thing in Ukraine first started, I told you guys, the war in Afghanistan's just over. That was a 20-year war. And if you notice, if you think about it, all of a sudden we're in another war. I told you guys this was going to be Cold War II, the Cold War. They made a lot of money. They had a lot of things going on that seemed to be cat and mouse, stupid things. Go back and watch the spy movies that were so exciting back at the time. They're stupid. What's the conflict over? It's a fake conflict. They're bringing back the Cold War against Russia so they can do a bunch of things like this Ukrainian missile shield. And this Ukrainian Iron Dome will be the most advanced on the planet because it'll be brand new. So
we're getting weaker.
Yeah, so all the other countries in Europe are going to want to update their systems so it's compatible with what the Ukrainians have. And you know what? The United States will pay for all those countries' missile defense systems too.
Trump put an end to all that. He put it.
That's right.
And this is why the swamp really hated him. It's not because he tweets mean things or he says things people don't like. That's what they tell you. And that's why they have to label him a racist, because they have to have a reason why they're outwardly against him. The real reason they're against him is because he was putting an end to this blank checkbook of of America giving to all these countries. He cut them off. In fact, he was making them pay us, which is something that never he reversed the relationship. And he went to countries and said, if you want us to protect you, you got to pay up. And he got billions of dollars back from Germany, Russia, other countries that hadn't paid us in years and years, decades. And that's why they're pissed, because he came along and said, I'm not going to be like George Bush or Obama and kiss your ass and let you just take all our money. You owe me money. You owe us money. He gave 28 million or billion from China to the farmers that they were owed. And he got a lot of money back that America was owed. That is why they want to stop him. That is why they don't like him, because he's messing up these global arrangements.
These scams. And remember
that's the real reason.
When President Trump went to Europe and met with NATO, and he found out how much they spent on that new building, and he had all the NATO leaders lined up, and he reprimanded them in front of the world on television. And he says, I'm in the building business. This building should not be costing this much. That's that building is the kind of scam they're talking about.
Remember when they built, on a smaller scale here, they built a new school board building, and it was brand new in Broward County, and it was a big scandal because there were a bunch of kickbacks and all other kinds of corrupt things going on into this gorgeous new building. Meanwhile, the schools in the county were dilapidated. They had 20-year-old books, broken sidewalks, but the school board had this gorgeous new glass building downtown that was given out to all these contractors, and there are all kinds of bribes and scandals going. That's just on a local scale. So when you have a building like that costs 10 times as much as it should, why do you think it costs so much money? Why? Because there's too many hands in the cookie jar.
That's right.
And they all want their piece.
That's correct. And, I'll tell you, this is an amazing thing. I was talking on Friday to Mike Lindell's office because of what's been going on with Walmart. And I'm going to tell you something. I did not go to Walmart this weekend. And a lot of times, you guys that watch me live stream on the weekends, a lot of times when I'm done live streaming, sometimes I'll live stream from the coffee shop. Sometimes I live stream from home.
Yeah.
But when I'm done with my live streams, a lot of times I'll go do a Walmart run to buy some laundry detergent. Kathy and I do the laundry on the weekend and stuff. Not this weekend. And you know what? We're not going back to Walmart. There's nothing that we need from Walmart. But listen to this. This is what Mike Lindell's office told me on Friday. This is amazing. And for those that don't know, Walmart announced last week that they will no longer carry MyPillow products. They are canceling Mike Lindell. This is purely political. There has not been a new happening.
You know what that tells me? Because I was thinking about it. Why now, after all this time? Because he was canceled like a year ago.
Yeah.
It tells me that the Democrats or whoever have been working on Walmart for like a year, and they finally convinced them. Walmart's been holding out. Walmart is making so much money. It's at $100 million in a year of sales. I think Walmart resisted for a long time, and then they finally gave in for whatever reason, because why didn't they drop them a year ago?
Exactly.
They held on to this, but they finally convinced them.
Yeah, and
because nothing really new has happened.
And I know a lot of you all are not going to Walmart either, but this is what Mike Lindell's office told me on Friday, and I thought this was pretty amazing. When Bed Bath & Beyond announced that they will no longer carry MyPillow products, a year later, because MAGA people said, you know what, you're not going to carry MyPillow products at Bed Bath & Beyond, we're not going. And we have a Bed Bath & Beyond down the street from our house, and I have not been there.
I think it went out of business.
Did it go out of that one? Went out of business too?
I think I'm not 100%. I did see a going out of business signs. Now, I don't know if they've come back.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll find out.
Next time we drive over there, we'll check.
We'll take a look, but we're not going to go in.
No,
but this is what they told me. A year after Bed Bath & Beyond announced that they would no longer carry MyPillow products, and MAGA people stood up and said, we're not going to Bed Bath & Beyond. Right. Bed Bath & Beyond closed 37 stores in America.
That's a lot.
And you know what? There's a lot of arrogance that comes with Walmart being the largest retailer out there. But you know what? I'm not going to go to Walmart. I know you guys aren't going to go to Walmart. And
here's the thing. It's tough because people have issues with Walmart, Amazon, Target.
Yeah.
You got issues with everything. So you have to pick your poison. Okay. And I buy like laundry detergent stuff on Amazon a lot of times, or Publix now. But I still shop at Target. I love Target. I always love Target. I know they do things I don't like, but I have to shop and buy stuff somewhere, okay? I don't live in a small town on Main Street where there's a mom and pop hardware store.
No.
I have to shop. I'm in a regular city where this is where I buy things. Walmart, Target. So you got to pick your poison here, okay? Obviously, and I love people that say, well, I'm not going to shop here. And they've eliminated every store in the country. Well, where the hell are you buying your stuff then? You have to, everybody's shopping somewhere. So you have to kind of choose, which one. Okay. And right now, just don't do Walmart.
Yeah. And
go to Target, go somewhere else.
And Mike Lindell
Amazon
has updated his specials with the promo code Kane at mypillow.com. So go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and you're going to see incredible specials going on there right now, including the MyPillow 2-inch mattress topper is 50% off. That's huge. The MyPillow 2-inch mattress topper, 50% off. That mattress topper will change your life. There's many, many other specials, but there's just one more. And by the way, that's with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. There's one more I want to tell you about. Anytime you see Mike Lindell from his office on television, behind him, he has this great picture of the lion with Jesus. That, if you go to the radio listener specials.
Yeah, you can get that picture.
Yeah, you can get that same image. And with our promo code Kane, Kane, just $28. It's called the Lion of Judah. So go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener specials. There are a lot of other specials too.
He adds new products all the time, and he has a beautiful copper cross.
Oh, yes.
That's really stunning. And he has a lot of religious stuff. And the Bible pillows for kids. But they're adding new products all the time. So if you've bought stuff and you're thinking, well, I don't know what else I could buy, just go back because he's got new things all the time.
And let me tell you, if MAGA stops going to Walmart, they'll feel that impact.
They will.
Because there's tens of millions of us in this country.
And it's working. Look what's happening with Netflix.
That's right.
Netflix dropped their woke ideology. And I'm telling you, Disney is on the verge because this movie was a bust. These companies are starting to realize you go woke, you go broke.
That's right. So go to mypillow.com. Take advantage of all the specials there with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. The couple I mentioned, though, are on the radio listener special section, all right? Promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout.
There are those who were born into loving families, and then there are the less fortunate who must forge their own families through strong friendships. From author Karen S. Bell comes the book Like a Lily Among the Thorns, available on Amazon. Abandoned by her father as a young girl, and now orphaned by her deranged mother, Gabby longs for a family connection. She finds this connection at the same time she inherits a B&B in Vermont from her estranged and now deceased father. This enchanted inn is under the watchful eye of goddesses of myth and legend, who have been tasked to save mankind from destroying itself and the planet. These goddesses will use their powers to try and stall the onslaught of the effects of droughts, floods, and rising temperatures. But as a safety net, they have collected human saviors all over the planet to erect safe havens at high altitudes away from floodwaters and blistering temperatures. Woven through this tale is Gabrielle's inherent understanding that she must be grateful, mindful, and present in this journey called life. Order your copy of Like a Lily Among the Thorns from author Karen S. Bell. Available on Amazon in both Kindle and paperback. In today's modern world, when your computer breaks down, you need it fixed fast at an affordable price and fixed right. That's where Stallion Tech comes in. With years of experience, Stallion Tech has earned the love and trust of their customers and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau. They repair PCs, Macs, iPhones, and Android phones like Samsung. Whatever the tech issue you are having, they can fix it. In fact, their expert team has repaired more than 10,000 devices. And Stallion Tech backs all their repairs with a 60-day hassle-free warranty. Desktops, laptops, tablets, and other mobile devices, Stallion Tech can fix it at the right price. Contact them online at StallionTechStamford.com. That's StallionTechStamford.com. What's up, dog? If you have a dog and love car racing and are looking for a cool racing-themed dog collar, you want to check out the Etsy shop, Doggy Paws. Doggy Paws has an awesome racing-themed dog collar that you and your furry family member will love. They have an awesome and fun racing-themed checkered collar, as well as the matching leash. Doggy Paws has a great collection of fun and colorful collars and leashes for dogs in lots of themes, sizes, and styles. They carry dog accessories, clothing, toys, and that's just the beginning. At Doggy Paws, customer satisfaction always has and always will be their top priority. This is why they go the extra mile to source the highest quality materials that are both soft and durable to make their dog collars. They're comfortable, functional, and adorable. Check out their shop right now. Doggy Paws on Etsy. Premium quality products for your pampered doggy. Online at doggypaws.etsy.com. That's DAWGY. doggypaws.etsy.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Okay, now, this is one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. I saw this on Twitter. Joy Reid led a special on MSNBC called "Culture Is," then semicolon, Black Women. And what they did is they sat around for like a lunch or dinner party. You've got Joy Reid, Tiffany Cross from the Weekends, Presley, who's in the squad, the bald-headed lady in the squad, and a bunch of other women. Some of them look vaguely familiar because I guess they're pundits on the news. And they're talking about being a black woman and the problems that they now face. And this is, there was a time when racism and discrimination involved some pretty serious things, right? You couldn't go to school.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't go to that school. You had to sit here. You couldn't sit on that part of the bus.
You couldn't use a bathroom.
That's right. You couldn't use a drinking fountain. You couldn't get a fair trial. If someone in your family was the victim of a crime and even murdered, you couldn't get justice.
If they thought you committed a crime, they'd hunt you down and string you up on a tree.
That's right. Democrats, by the way.
That's real racism.
Yeah. Democrats did all that to the black community and more. But today, racism, discrimination is a little different. So you'll hear it talked about in this panel. So this is Culture Is, Black Women. And you'll hear some clicking and clanking because I don't know if they're really eating and drinking, but they're supposedly either it's kind of like Real Housewives of Atlanta, that at a fancy restaurant, eating and drinking. I don't know if it's lunch or dinner, but they talk about the problems that they face. I don't know. I saw it on
stupid idea.
I'm assuming over the weekend for Juneteenth. I saw it on Twitter earlier today. So listen to this.
So we toasted in the hair. We have all been in the struggle. All the black people.
Okay, they're talking about the struggle. Okay.
Do we get our hair and makeup together? Back in the news business, your beautiful hair would not have been allowed. Even 5 years ago. Yeah. I went renegade last year and started wearing every kind of braid style that you could possibly do. We know 100 different styles. And you know what I did? I'm going to tell you when I did it. When that Crown Act passed in New York, I'm going to wear all the different kinds of braids. Yeah. I'm going to put them up. I'm going to put them down. Put it in writing.
So the first example is, because they said the struggle. So the struggle they face is wearing their hair any way that they want at work. Well, I've got news for you. I've had jobs, and I know you guys have jobs too, where there are rules on how to have your hair.
Absolutely. I don't think white women can wear braids. Newswomen. I've never seen a newswoman in braids. White or black. No, it's not professional looking.
In some instances, you work in food service. You got to wear your hair up in nets and stuff.
Do you notice how Joy Reid is talking here? She sounds like Nene Leakes.
Yeah.
A lot different than she does on the news. But let me tell you something.
Well, they've just only begun.
They've come a long way from Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks was thrown in jail for riding on the front of a bus. You have the girl who was spit on.
Well, she was in a seat in the front of the pack.
Right.
She wasn't riding like on the hood or the bumper of the bus.
No, I know.
You said the front of the bus.
I know,
I'm kidding.
And then you have the girl who went to school, the famous Norman Rockwell painting depicted, I can't remember the little girl's name, who was spit on.
Yeah.
Imagine those black kids that went to school in Alabama for the first time to a white school. I mean, look at the news footage. Can you imagine how frightened they were to go to a white school when they were being screamed at and yelled at by these stupid bigots? And their biggest problem, Joy Reid, is they can't wear braids on television.
That's the struggle.
Are they kidding me? This is their biggest racist problem. This is their biggest problem.
There's more with the struggle. Listen.
Unbelievable.
One day, Joy had a whole situation. And this is how it always works, right? People text me like, yo, did you see Joy's hair today?
Literally. I worked on a show, and that person shall remain nameless, but they are very famous. And
now this is my favorite part. Oh my God. She's got an example of racism committed by a famous man,
but she won't tell you.
But she's not going to tell you who he is.
Right.
Which means it didn't happen.
Exactly.
He doesn't exist. It's in her imagination because
she made it up.
If she said that to me, I would say, well, wait a minute. We've got to name who this is, because if there's this racist man working in television discriminating against black women, we need to expose him and stop this.
Like Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, we've got to stop this discrimination of black women, but she wants to protect the racist.
I guess so.
In his contract that if you were a black woman, he was not responsible for your hair. And this was a very famous.
So stupid.
First off, that is complete BS.
I agree.
What man would say in his contract, if there's a black woman on my show, I'm not responsible for your hair?
Nobody. That makes no sense.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Men don't think about hair.
You know what you're seeing here? You're really seeing how these women talk in their personal life at the dinner table when they're all sitting around, and all they do is bash white people.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's really sad. They're the bigots.
That's right.
That if you were a black woman, he was not responsible for your hair. And this was a very famous. Who was it? Tell us. Name. Because he was powerful.
Just text it to us later. But for all of you, I mean, in every single one of our businesses, we've had to deal with our hair being fried, falling out of our head.
God, yeah.
Because somebody who didn't know how to do us couldn't sit in the thing. We couldn't have a black hair and makeup team.
Foundations 2 shades lighter, darker, ashy, right.
When you're
so
the struggle is real, guys.
So the struggle is now
with
hair,
these multi-millionaire women,
and they can't get the right shade of makeup.
All they have to do is go to Walgreens and go to CoverGirl, and they've got every shade of color in the rainbow. Honestly, now, if this was 30 years ago or even 20 years ago, I would say you're right. There's not enough shades of makeup for every color of skin. It's mostly Caucasian. But if you go to the drugstore now maybe in their fancy schmancy makeup they wear, they don't have enough shades. But if you just go to CoverGirl at the drugstore, they have about 30 shades of foundation, all from the darkest dark to the whitest white everywhere. That is complete BS. And I do not believe that they cannot have Joy Reid at her level cannot get a hairdresser that she wants.
She can't.
First of all,
that's the struggle.
It probably takes 3 freaking hours to do her hair. And so not many hairdressers, it's true, are trained in that kind of hair. But I can't imagine she does not have the clout anymore to say, I want a black hairdresser. You know, they wouldn't care.
You know what? And I'm thinking about how insensitive they are, because at this table is Presley, who has no hair. And they're talking about their hair, right?
What would we call that? Hair shamers.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Not a celebrity in this way. This is a new thing being thrust into the spotlight. So when you're like a social justice person, and they don't care how they make us look at all. I have been in places where they've just handed me powder.
And probably the wrong color powder.
Oh, absolutely. White powder. And I'm like, am I a clown?
Oh, my God.
And now you have to be a professional makeup artist, professional hairstylist.
These women are bigots.
All of it. I go on TV and I'm like, I look a damn mess. Like, what has been traumatized? And I'm supposed to have hair, and the hair is like that, and they done.
This is a New York Times reporter that's talking. I love these people that make a living having a primetime network show, New York Times writers,
they're all millionaires,
social justice warriors.
Give me a break.
And give me exactly. They're all doing very well.
Break.
From 4 years ago. That's right. I'm gonna tell you this: the Time cover. I've never told this story. They called me 3 days before and said, "Can you come in to do a photo shoot?"
Here's the new struggle. They asked me to be on the cover of Time magazine.
I just can't believe these entitled women, what they're complaining about.
being on Time magazine.
Do they even hear what they're saying? You have black women and white women, but you have black women in this country, and white for that matter, that can't afford to put food on the table. They can't even get freaking baby food.
Or buy gas.
For their kids. They can't afford gas.
Can't find tampons at the store.
I mean, they can't pay the rent. We see stories every night on the local news of women living in their freaking cars with their kids. We saw a woman 2 weeks ago, a black woman. She's got 4 kids, and she can't afford her rent anymore because the rent prices have gone up so much. She's living in her car, which is a piece of crap too. And these women are complaining.
That's right.
Because they can't get the right color powder.
No.
Shame on them.
When Time magazine called.
I mean, what a bunch of scumbags.
When Time magazine called and asked me to be on their cover, they did not provide the right powder.
These women are
entitled.
Are the elite. Yes. They are part of the elite crowd. Why don't they care about the struggle that real women are going through, black or white? And believe me, real women in this country, their biggest problem is not finding the right powder to wear on Time magazine or to get the right hairdresser to do braids in their hair. Do your own damn hair like I do, Joy Reid.
Exactly.
I don't have a hairdresser.
Exactly.
Did not tell me it was the cover. They said bring a yellow shirt and a blue shirt out of my closet. Wow.
Nope. Wow, they didn't give her free clothes.
That happens with everybody.
They asked her to bring her own clothes.
See, but the way they see it, because she's black.
Well,
they don't understand that that's how it is for everybody.
I've got news for this social justice warrior lady. White people, we have to buy our own clothes too.
Exactly.
For everything we do.
Oh my! Usually that's just crazy.
Wardrobe, no nothing. So I grabbed the yellow shirt. I grabbed the blue shirt. I came downtown. Oh Lord! I came to the place. Right. I'm just thinking it's gonna be a little picture, like whatever. I get to the place. My braids wasn't fresh. Now come on.
Oh yeah.
Come on, I had 3 days. I could have took my braids out. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
My braids wasn't fresh. My braids was always fresh.
They sound so stupid.
Or I would have freshed them myself. Right. I get to the place. I get there. I just take the shoot like normal. They make this the cover of freaking Time magazine.
Oh, and they show the cover, and she looks like herself. She looks fine. Her hair's done nice.
She's not even happy that she's on the cover of Time. And she's pissed off because she had to wear her own shirt.
She's whining, right? She's on the cover of Time, and she is the cover person on the episode that says the 100 most, or the issue that says the 100 most influential people, and she's griping. She's been named one of the 100 most influential people in America. They put her on the cover of Time. And she's griping.
Because you know why? They're ungrateful.
I guess so.
Ungrateful
and entitled.
People, entitled. They're not grateful. And it has nothing to do with the color of their skin. Anybody in their position should be grateful for all the blessings they have
Time's
in life.
Not calling me.
Exactly, whether you're black or white. But that is what she's choosing to focus on because she's obsessed with race and she's obsessed with victimhood.
Yep.
But Tarana, can I just say though, I think that what I think people misunderstand is that this is not.
Oh, this is Presley, by the way. Listen to this. This is a gem.
Vanity. It's not a diva moment. It's the fact that as black women, every single thing about us is politicized and criminalized. That's right. As we were having this conversation about black hair, and I know everyone keeps saying that we're in the midst of a national reckoning. I'm still waiting for that.
I mean, look at this. You've got host of national television shows on NBC News, New York Times writers, a woman who's on the cover of Time magazine. This woman here, Presley, is a member of the United States House of Representatives, but they're all still victims.
Exactly. They're all still being oppressed.
Yeah.
And the reason things are politicized is because they make it political. They're making it political here.
Yeah.
Honestly, what I think is more accurate is to say that we've been in the midst of an awakening. But the reckoning for me will be when we codify the value of black lives in our budgets and in our policies. And so, we recently passed the Crown Act. This is banning race-based.
Okay, now the Crown Act, this is true thing. I've not heard of the Crown Act before.
Does that have to do with like the kings and queens?
No, the Crown Act bans discrimination against hair textures and styles in school, at work, and in the military. It's called the Crown Act.
Those applause are for the fact that I was able to keep my composure. For the many offensive things that were said, one person across the aisle referred to this as the bad hair bill, which very much makes the case for the very thing that we're talking about. So the thing is that people get it wrong when they think that the Crown Act is just about hair. The Crown Act is about white supremacy. Okay? How I show up in the world is disruptive in and of itself. Shout out to the 7 million people living with alopecia, disproportionately black women. I have alopecia totalis, and I thank God for my husband, who in the midst of that, all that loss, reminded me that I don't need hair to rock a crown.
Yeah. I made my 11-year-old daughter, watch that video.
Okay, I can't take any more of
these people
this.
live on another planet. They're obsessed with race.
That's the struggle now.
They're obsessed with victimhood.
Yes.
And you got a table of multimillionaire, powerful black women, and all they can do is complain because they're saying they don't have access to makeup, which is not true. They don't have access to a certain hairdresser, which is not true. That woman who went on the Time thing, and if she wasn't happy with her hair, this is how I would handle it if I was on Time and I went to a photo shoot, okay? And I didn't like my hair. White women don't like their hair sometimes too. And if I didn't like my hair, like she complained her braids weren't fresh or whatever the hell, I would have said to them, I'm not taking any photographs until you do my hair and makeup. That's what I would have said. And they would have said, fine, we'll get a team here and whatever. And I would have said, I'm not going to let you take any picture of me because I would have thought, well, they might use this picture. I don't know, but I'm not going to photograph. I want somebody to do my hair at least. Why didn't she just say that to them? Why didn't she just say to them, I'm happy to do it, but I would like my hair fixed properly, if that's okay? That's a reasonable request. But instead, she went in, took the pictures, and now all she's doing is bitching about it.
Yeah.
She should have said something about it at the time if it bothered her so much.
Exactly. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there is a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian. Always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will be back right after this quick break.
When it comes to the latest tech, fashion, beauty, home goods, and more, you want what's trendy, and you want a good deal, too. The online shop, TrendyPickToday.com, has all the latest and greatest items on sale at fantastic prices. From PCs to smartphones, Apple Watches, and more, they got it all. Kitchen appliances, baby care, skincare, electronics, fashion for both men and women, fitness items as well. This is your one-stop shop for the trendiest items everyone is talking about. You can get it all at TrendyPickToday.com. Make sure to check out their special offers and big deals. Visit TrendyPickToday.com and start saving today. TrendyPickToday.com. Diamond painting is a hot craze that everyone's doing. It's creative, fun, and relaxing. If you're a fan of diamond painting, then you need to check out the shop 5D, that's the number 5, 5DDiamondPaintings.com. 5DDiamondPaintings.com carries supplies as well as patterns of animals, fantasy, spiritual, seasonal, nature, birds, and a lot more. They have a great selection of diamond painting designs, and they carry everything you need to get started or continue this fun and exciting activity. Do you know someone who loves diamond painting? Then this is a great store to tell them about. Also, enjoy free shipping on all orders. That's right, free shipping, no minimum purchase required. Express your creativity. 5D, that's the number 5, 5DDiamondPaintings.com. Your style is uniquely your own. Classic, modern, or minimalist. You know what you like. The Etsy shop, Homestyle Moon, offers travel bags, tote bags, outdoor pillows, throw blankets, home decor, and more in all the styles you love. Their designs are perfect for all kinds of spaces and decors. When you visit the shop, make sure to check out their amazing variety of duvet covers, shower curtains, rugs, and more. Whether you want to redo the entire house, just a room, or an office, Homestyle Moon on Etsy is the perfect place to shop. Maybe you're simply looking to add 1 or 2 design elements to spruce up the place. They will have what you are looking for. Their accessories are beautiful, and their customer service is second to none. Homestyle Moon on Etsy. Find them online at homestylemoon.store. That's homestylemoon.store.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Don't forget to follow and subscribe on whatever platform you are listening to us on. You know, this poll has been circulating all over the news the last couple days. It says Americans' belief in God has dropped to record lows, 81%. That means 19% of Americans do not believe in God. That is
sad.
Really low. You know, it used to be pretty much 100%, and that didn't mean everyone went to church. I mean, you know, most people that don't go to church in the past have believed in God. They just didn't go to church for whatever reason. And, you know, that's the way it has been. And, you know, I'm not a big supporter of polls, but this is a poll that I do think is possibly somewhat accurate, that 19% of the American people, that means they're atheist.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't believe in God of any kind.
That doesn't mean Christian or Jews or anything. It means
because Jews,
they don't believe
Christians,
in any
Muslims
God.
all believe in a higher power. They all believe in God. They're all Abrahamic religions.
What happened in this country with there's always been people that are atheist in the country, but they were considered kind of fringe.
Yeah.
But what's happened
now, it's like 20%.
Yeah. What's happened with a lot of what goes on in social media, I think it's more so Instagram than, say, Twitter or Facebook, that younger people are so vain. They're very
self-involved.
We've got a generation, with two generations. We've got millennials and the Gen Zs, which are the younger than the millennials, that are just total vanity. They're taking pictures, and they Photoshop the pictures, and they put fake backgrounds to make people think they have a wonderful life. And I've heard these stories, and this is so true, of people get clinically depressed because of their friends' profiles make it look like they have such a great life.
Oh yeah, no, it's in fact, Elon Musk was talking about, and he's going to buy Twitter, about how social media is destroying society, and that's what it is. It's contributing to anxiety, depression, because people scroll through things, especially young people, and they don't have as many likes or as many clicks or have cool pictures or travel as much or do as many things. And as a sick person who's very homebound, I found myself falling into that trap a few years ago. I would look on Facebook and Instagram, and I could feel myself getting sad, like, oh, I wish I could go here. I wish I could go there.
Yeah.
And I was getting into that trap, being chronically ill. And then I just had to make myself stop. I'm like, no, you have to focus on what you can do. You're limited, but sitting here scrolling through social media, it's completely mindless, pointless, and stupid, and it's just making me feel bad. So I don't do it anymore. It's very bad for you. And I think we have a very self-driven society with Jesus was not into self-help. He said, deny yourself. I mean, that was his message. Deny yourself to follow me. He wasn't into self-help or selfishness at all. He would not like the self-help movement. That's why I don't like a lot of these churches that preach self-help things, because that's not biblical. There's a whole self-help movement, manifestation, horoscopes. All these things are anti-religion and anti-God, but there's more and more of it. And I think you're right. Social media is creating a culture. Plus, there's less interaction with people. There's less humanization, less socialization with younger people. And I think there's a disconnect. And maybe with COVID, that had an effect on that too. People not going to church as much, not as much fellowship, not as much Bible studies. Maybe people lost people and got disillusioned with religion or with God. Maybe society in general is making people disillusioned with God, and they're angry and like, I don't believe in God because the world's such a horrible place. And that's easy to fall into that too. There's a lot of factors going on that contribute to that. Probably parents not making their kids go to church. Let me tell you something. When I was growing up, and this is, I have good parents. This is one thing my mom did that really means the most to me out of anything. And I grew up Episcopal because my mom's family's from England. And my mom, and she was a single mother, she got divorced when I was 7. My mom made me and my brother go to church every week, whether we wanted to or not. It was not negotiable. We had to go to church every week. We were involved in youth group all through middle school and high school. And there were days I'm like Sundays, I'm like, Mom, when I was in high school especially, I don't want to go. You're going. That's it. She made me go. And I was so glad as I got older that she did that. How many parents do that now? How many parents make their kids go to church no matter what? And Brian and I are guilty of this too. We didn't always make Emily go. We didn't always go because I was disabled. It was hard for me to go. So we just kind of forgot about it. How many parents make their kids go? Make them go to Bible study and make it a part of their life. So that's a part of it too, that parents are giving into their children's demands more, being less, giving them more freedom, too much freedom, and not being demanding of certain things and expecting certain things of their kids and letting them, do their own thing instead of saying, you're going to go to church with the family and you're going to this. I think it's a lot of, it's sad.
It is a lot of things. And there really are not a lot of Christian leaders like we used to have in the country anymore, religious leaders of any kind. You don't have a Billy Graham. No, or even any of the other religions. There are not religious leaders.
Why do you think that is? Because you have Joel Osteen, you have Charles Stanley, you certainly have
because so many
Jim Bakker's still around. Why is there no one big Billy Graham? Is it because they're just a lot of them are corrupt, or what is it?
Yeah, because they get big and then they get corrupt and then there's scandals and all this stuff. Now I wanted to talk.
They just had that big scandal with Hillsong.
That's
Church.
right.
It's
that's
on
right. That's exactly
Discovery.
right.
If you want to see it, it's a great documentary.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to talk about this briefly. Melissa Francis from Fox News, who was a guest on the program here. We had Melissa Francis on the show a while back, and while she was still at Fox.
Yep.
She left Fox, and she was paid a $15 million settlement by Fox.
Yep.
Let me read just a little bit of this. Francis was employed by Fox between 2012 and 2021. Fox responded to the news by claiming that Francis' allegations were entirely without merit. She had said there's a gender pay gap. The former news anchor recalled a conversation she had with a former Fox News executive in 2019 when her contract was subject to renewal. That's how the world works. Women make less. It's just a fact. Diane Brandy, a woman, allegedly told Melissa Francis, according to Melissa Francis. Fox News countered the exchange and did not want to reveal the salaries of its employees in arbitration. After Melissa Francis took the network to court in 2020, they paid her $15 million. Okay,
wow.
Here's why they paid
Fox
her.
News has paid out a lot to their ex-employees. Let me tell you, they gave Gretchen Carlson $10 million.
Yeah, the reason that this story here explains a lot. The reason they paid her off and the reason they paid off Gretchen is because if they go to court with these things in arbitration, the salaries of everyone gets released, and no one knows what everybody makes.
I'm sure the men do make more. I'm sure Hannity and Tucker make more.
Well,
than
they're the
Laura
biggest
Ingraham.
draw. Well, yeah, they're the bigger draws.
Maybe not.
Oh yeah, Tucker and Hannity are bigger draws.
I don't know if Hannity's bigger than Laura.
Maybe not anymore.
They're probably equal.
Maybe not anymore. But
I'm sure there's some sexism there. But I mean, there is.
What happens is in arbitration when they reveal the salaries, a lot of people are going to want raises. But when they see what other people what other people make, and you would probably be surprised if all the salaries became public, which they would do that in an arbitration in a court case like this. You would be surprised how much some people make and how little people make. Like I bet you Dana Perino is paid much more money than anyone would imagine. And Dana Perino is probably one of the top paid people on Fox, even though she seems a little low key. She's got her own show. She's on the 5 and she's well connected with the Bush dynasty.
Do you think Jesse Waters makes more than Laura Ingraham? I bet he does.
Well,
and she's been on there a lot longer than him.
The 5 is like top rated #1 show, and then he's got his own show at 7, which is blowing out the ratings. He might make more than Laura Ingraham. I mean,
for his one show, I'm just saying.
Oh, for his one show? It's hard to say. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's sexism. I think Laura Ingraham, I don't think she has a great personality.
What about Harris Faulkner?
Harris Faulkner probably makes a lot of money. Yeah, more than you would think. Yeah.
I wonder if people at these networks know what each other makes.
No.
You don't think it ever slips out in conversation?
No. So the reason they pay off Melissa Francis.
Yeah, you're right.
$15 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it's a lot less than they would have to start giving raises to people when they found out that with the pay gap. And the pay gaps, I'm talking about pay gaps between, like, say, Brian Kilmeade and Pete Hegseth.
Right.
I bet you Pete Hegseth, because he's so – I like Pete Hegseth, although I got some problems with him. But I bet you he is paid a lot of money to do that weekend show, more than you realize. And someone else may say, well, wait a minute, I need a raise. He's making $1 million more a year than I am. So it's cheap. It's cheaper just to pay her off than have to give a bunch of people raises.
To let that be exposed.
And I think a lot of times people like Melissa Francis know that, and they can go and sue knowing they're going to get a settlement because they don't want that information revealed.
If the salaries are a secret, how does she know there's a pay gap?
They probably know. Some people probably talk. The gripers, the community of gripers probably talk. But the people that are making solid money don't. And some of the people that make the higher salaries may lie down what they earn because they don't want people to know.
Or it could be just what you said. She knew when she went into it that they would pay her off, so she just filed a lawsuit.
Yeah.
I think they fired her because I think she went in, she was negotiating her contract. They didn't give her what she wanted. She wanted X amount of dollars, and they didn't give it to her. So they cut her loose or whatever. She quit or they cut her loose over it. And this is the scheme she came up with to walk away with a nice fat severance.
Yeah. And, I like Melissa Francis. We had her on the podcast a long time ago when she was on Fox, but she wasn't all that special. She wasn't a big personality anchor. I liked her, but it was nothing. She wasn't a reporter. She sat on the couch and gave her opinions. And she should have been happy with whatever she was making.
No, and I got to tell you that I always liked her, but the last year she was on the air, I don't know. She just wasn't bringing it.
Well, she wasn't
bringing her A game.
She was in a conflict with them for the last year.
She
was there.
Was checked out.
Yeah, her hair looked, messed up. Sometimes she seemed out of it.
She should not have blonde hair with her brown eyes. It looks weird.
But I like her. And Melissa Francis, when she was a little girl, was on Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, I remember. She had those big eyes.
Yeah, she was one of the girls that went to school with Laura Ingalls Wilder in the schoolhouse.
She was on that. I mean, I liked her. She was with Fox for a while.
Yeah.
But
I always liked her.
Yeah, I always liked her, but the last year she was kind of
But I think she ran a scam here to get the payout.
Well, if nobody knows what anybody makes, how would she know? But I guess you're right that she figured I'll sue. Her lawyer probably told her, sue them because they'll pay you off because, like you said, they're not going to want that to be public.
That's right. Well, listen, we're all out of time, but we will be back next time. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll talk to you next time.
Are you ready for Ibiza vibes? Did you know that Ibiza and NFT are a great combination? If you're into NFTs and understand their full potential, or are curious about them and want to know more, you need to check out IbizaViewClub.io. The Ibiza View Club is championed by a team of visionaries and entrepreneurs who are dedicated to the innovation and celebration of Ibiza. These NFTs will generate not only the local community investment, but also a global pantheon of support in both the physical and digital spaces. These NFTs will stand as reminders of all the beauty and charm of Ibiza, providing the necessary imaging to inspire, delight, and captivate. Join this fast-growing community right now, online at IbizaViewClub.io. That's IbizaViewClub.io.